Hello and warm welcome to this press conference with ABB, both of you joining us in person and those of you joining us online. We will begin with a short presentation by our key executives and then open up for questions. If you're with us online, you can submit questions next to the broadcast on your screens, and if you're with us here in person, please raise your hand and we will come with a microphone. Now, without further ado, let me introduce ABB CEO Björn Rosengren, President of ABB Robotics and Discrete Automation Business Area, Sami Atiya, and President of ABB Robotics Division, Mark Segura. Björn, please.
Thank you, Caroline, and welcome also from my side. It's of course really nice to see you all here in person, but I also would like to welcome you online. We have quite some people there also. I think it's today a great day for ABB. It's a great day for ABB Sweden, but also for the robotic division. And also, I think, for Västerås and Sweden. So we are really happy to announce an investment of $280 million US, or in Swedish krona, 3.1 billion Swedish crown, in a new robotic campus in Västerås here in Sweden. And this campus is really going to increase our capacity with 50%, and it will actually support the growing demand for flexible automation and robotic solutions. I think it's no wonder we are doing it here in Sweden and in Västerås, because this is of course the cradle of robotics in ABB. For 50 years ago, almost exactly, we launched the first electric industrial robot. And since then, we have built on the capacity and the competence of our colleagues in Västerås during all these days. So it's really building on the heritage from Västerås. This new campus follows a number of investments that we are doing in ABB and been launching this year. We are investing $170 million in North America. We last year opened up our mega factory in Shanghai for robotics, and also last year we opened up our new development center in Austria for discrete automation. So it's quite a lot of good investment. And all of this is actually following our strategy, local for local, or as ABB is global, we also want to be local, meaning that we are building, developing and supplying robot for the region that we are. So this hub will be mainly for the European market. It's been a lot of celebration in ABB. We also celebrated the 140 years of ABB in Sweden this year. So Sweden and ABB has a long heritage of competence and technology development. And mainly, maybe the most important is that this investment is very much in line with the ABB purpose. And that is enabling a more sustainable and resource efficiency by our technology leadership in automation and electrification. So it's a little bit of robot history. So I hand over to you, Sami.
Thank you very much, Björn. This is indeed an exciting day for us in robotics. And there is no better time to invest here in Sweden for Europe than now. There are many mega trends that are all driving higher demand of automation and robotization. On the one hand, we are facing an aging and shrinking population globally, but here in Europe, we will have 50 million less people in the workforce by 2035. That is already in 11 years. That means we have to do more with less input to keep and sustain the prosperity in Europe. On the other hand, our industries are going in a tremendous transformation. Automotive is shifting from a combustion engine to electric vehicles, and we in ABB are positioned very well to support the industry. And the general industry is also going through a transformation. After the many crises, everybody wants to secure their supply chain. They want to reshore and bring production closer to their base home, either in Europe or in US or in Asia. And there are new entrants into the market and companies who want to gain the benefits of automation, construction industry, healthcare, service industry, even restaurants. All of these trends are supporting a higher demand of robotization. 84% of our European businesses, when we did a survey, are saying to us that they will invest in automation in the next 3 years. And 70% of them are considering reshoring and coming closer to their own production. That gives us the confidence that the next years we will see tremendous growth, and that is why we are supporting the growth in Europe through our hub here in Sweden. We are building on 50 years of proud history here in ABB in Västerås in Sweden. And here we will introduce with new technologies, artificial intelligence, with vision and mobile robots, new solutions that will lower the barrier of entry for our customers and make the usage of robotics much easier. Now imagine a future where you can talk to a robot and tell the robot what to do as opposed to programming it. And imagine a future where we will have robots, multiple of them are doing quality inspection and not only improving by themselves, but they are learning from the hundreds of robots that are around the world. And imagine that robots can be trained by synthetic data generated by AI and then improving their ability to optimize productions up to 30%. And tests are showing that this is also already possible. So that means also that training and skilling of our employees and our customers and the surrounding is going to be important. That's why this campus is about R&D, manufacturing, training, and service. And we in ABB are very proud that we train more than 30,000 students every year. So it's part of our value that we bring the people along. So this is a really important day for us and our employees. And as Björn has said, we are very proud that 40 years ago, we have introduced the first industrial microprocessor-controlled robot. And 24 years later, we introduced the first digital twin, which our Robot Studio, which is now the leading software in robotization. And then we introduced the YuMi 2015. So this is a start of a new era. And I would like to show you a video about the new campus that we're very proud of. So I would like to hand over to Mark Segura now.
Thank you, Sami. Good morning, everyone. I am really proud. We are really happy to talk to you now a bit of our new campus. A campus that is meant to be a collaborative hub, a place where we will put together production, R&D, research and development, and training. And it has to embody our commitment to the latest in digital, sustainable, and flexible manufacturing for us, but also to support European customers to be faster, more resilient, and more productive. But first and foremost, as you've seen in the video, this has to be a modern workplace, the best modern workplace of 65,000 square meters to host our 1,300 colleagues here in Sweden, consolidating them from 9 spread buildings where we have today our operations. Our manufacturing will be powered by our best technology, as you have seen. We will have robotic modular cells doing the assembly. Everything will be digitally connected and networked, and all the material flows will be served from an automatic warehouse to the kitting to the production via our mobile robots that will be also powered by vision and artificial intelligence. And all this factory will be first designed in the virtual world using our Robot Studio software, where we can iterate the design to get to the optimal design, the optimal flow, and really simulate the performance before any single robot is installed. And then we can just translate for the commissioning. But also, our factory, we want really to be true to our commitment to make work a better place. And for that, we're also planning to embed a number of collaborative robots working alongside with our co-workers to take on the more dirty, dual, and repetitive work. Because cobots and robots are excelling at that. And now, going forward, even with artificial intelligence, they are even more enhanced. They are amplified. And we're going to have some examples of robotics AI in our campus. To put you a couple of examples, in the warehousing, we will be preparing the orders, the order kitting, with robots powered by vision and AI, which will pick objects from the totes that they have never seen before without any training. And they will pick it and put them in the mobile robots. And these mobile robots will go from the warehouse to the assembly line, navigating through the aisles using, again, vision and AI to understand what they see, so they are safe, they can work around people safely, and also they can optimize their routes as they go. But it's not only about the factory, it's also a research and development center that will be co-located, so we have the perfect synergy there. But it's also going to be open externally to co-create with customers, startups, academia, so we create this thrilling innovation ecosystem. Also, a training center, as we said, training of our customers, training of our people that need to be upskilled, but also the community. And finally, the building, the facility itself, is going to meet our 2030 sustainability targets of carbon neutrality, and we're aiming to get a gold certificate, one of the highest, ranks of environmental certificates in Sweden, and for example, installing solar panels in the roof, where we will get 55% of our electricity. So all in all, this campus builds on the legacy of our heritage here in Sweden, but it's a commitment to the future, a commitment to robotics, a commitment to our customers in Europe, and a commitment to Sweden and Västerås.
Thank you, everyone, and please stay with us as we will continue with the questions and answers. So it's time to answer your questions. Are there any questions from the floor?
Hello, Linda Norstedt, Ny Teknik. I'm wondering about the why involved. What is it that you hope to do in this factory that you can't do today? You say that you want to produce more, but is it more of the same or something new?
You want to take it?
Yeah. We want to produce, we are already producing more than 90% of our portfolio in the current factory. That will even increase to 95%. So we're really walking this region for region, local for local strategy that's in place. But one of the biggest reasons for the improvement is capacity expansion, but also to optimize our operation. We have grown up organically over the last decades from a first building to a second one, taking on the existing infrastructure in Västerås, up to 9 buildings. So you can imagine there reach a limit where you can not improve more the productivity because you cannot have the perfect design, layout, and so on. So now we're going to have a big box to really put the best layout and the best technology so we can really continue to improve to serve our customers better with more value.
I think it's also creating a working environment that will attract a lot of talents, which is of course important in a world that we are living today. And we think that robotic is really the future of flexible automation, and it will be a big need for this, continue the big growth in this area, and I think that is the basic for it. And I think also we have this local for local strategy, which is being enhanced even more these days, that we believe that we need to be locally full sustained, which means that we want to produce them, we want to develop the product, and we want to serve the whole Europe from here.
Thank you. Next question comes from... okay, Martin, go ahead, please.
Martin Lindgren, Dagens Industri. Have you obtained the necessary building and environmental permissions that you need to build this plant? And what construction company have you contracted for the construction? I guess it's empty land where the site is, isn't it?
Well, we did not get the permissions yet. Now we are applying, and the construction companies we will discuss now with several, and that will be decided as soon as possible. Yeah.
Do you expect a lengthy process to obtain the environmental permissions?
No, we don't believe. Our plan is to start the project beginning of 2024 and to end in 2026.
Is there a forest on the site right now, or what is it?
There is a forest on the site, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is submitted online. It comes from John Revel with Reuters. How do European growth rates for robotics compare with Asia and Americas? And how concerned are you about the economic slowdown in Europe reducing demand for robots?
Our numbers that we take from analysts are around 7% growth from 2022 to 2027 in Europe. And that basically is overcompensated by growth in Asia, which is higher than that our prediction is up to 10% global growth over the long run. Obviously, every region will go through its cycles of demand and supply. So we believe that with all the trends that I've mentioned before, that robotization and automation, there is no way out. If you think about the 50 million less working people in Europe, and we want to just keep and not grow, we have to compensate with that. We have to be more productive, and we have to do more with less input, from an ecological perspective, but also from a productivity perspective. So I'm very confident that this is the right decision now, and also we will reach the capacity maximum of Västerås already in 2026. So when we open, we will be ready to actually grow then the business from there.
Thank you. And one follow-up question from John is, how much of this is to do with subsidies? Have you received any EU or Swedish subsidies to build this factory, which are now being offered to match the incentives being offered in the US?
No, this is actually built on a business case in ABB and fully financed by ABB. So no subsidies this time.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor? Yes, please.
Henning Eklund, Svenska Dagbladet. Could you elaborate on why you are making this investment in Europe when the Asian market is stronger and it's bigger and it's growing quicker? Why Europe?
Yeah.
Well, we have, as Björn mentioned before, we have opened our mega factory in China. So for China and the surroundings, we already have our local for local strategy, and we produce and supply that out of Shanghai. Our strategy has always been to have 3 hubs in Europe, in Västerås, in US, in Auburn Hills, and in China. So we have the local for local strategy, and that gives us more resilience. And because of the demand to Europe is growing, and we supply, as Mark said, 90% of the European demand out of Västerås, that's the reason for why we're investing here and growing.
Okay, and a final question. Is this investment what will give you the number 1 spot when it comes to the industrial robotic market?
Well, our goal is to be the leader in this industry, and we continue to drive that from an innovation perspective, from the content of our products, and being the best choice for our customers. And I believe with our technology, with the new hub, we will have all the ingredients here to be the leader of this industry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question submitted online comes from Mikaela Eriksen from Västerås Tidning and reads, where in Västerås will the campus be located?
It's going to be still in the Finnslätten area, in a land that we will disclose at a later stage. But I mean, not very far from where we are today.
Thank you. Next question submitted online comes from Carl-Johan Kulving from Affärsvärlden. How will you finance this investment?
We are doing with our own balance sheet. So, as you're probably well aware of, that we have a very strong financial situation for ABB, good cash flow and good financial performance. So we will finance with our own means.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor? One more, Martin.
Just a detailed question here. The area of this plant is 65,000 square meters. How big are those in Auburn Hills and Shanghai?
Well,
You can tell.
in Shanghai, it's about the same size. So it's 64,000. In Auburn Hills, it's smaller. The size of the markets reflect basically the size of these factories. So in Auburn Hills is much smaller, but we are expanding there as well. So currently. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question submitted online comes from Nathan Fisher of HC Switzerland. I think we already covered the subsidy question, so I will move on to the next one. Will there be further business concentration in Sweden, possibly to the detriment of Switzerland?
Maybe I can answer that of being Swedish, but I don't think this is the case. You know, we are decentralized, which means that our 19 divisions that we have today, they make their decision where they find it the right place to produce and to invest and to drive, and it's very much built on where do we see the demand in. Of course, we have a heritage in certain businesses, the same way as we do in Switzerland, and we will be building on those ones. And this time it was Västerås, because it is the robotic business who needs to build out capacity, but also to upgrade existing facilities.
Thank you. Next question is from Daniel Sulaf of Börsen Zeitung, Frankfurt, Switzerland. Frankfurt, not Switzerland. Germany. Excuse me for that. Question is, the performance of the robotics division has been a disappointment over the last few years. How does this fit your portfolio strategy?
Maybe I can answer that. You know, I think it's just a perfect timing. Maybe someone of you remember that a number of years ago I said the robotic business is 15% margin business because of the reflecting the value that we are creating for our customers, and should have a good growth around 10% over a business cycle. And the very positive news is that after recovering from the COVID and the supply chain issues that we have had during the years, the business is now performing in line or better than this. So the timing, I think, is perfect as we go for stability, profitability, and growth. And I think robotic is in the growth mode at the moment. So I think congratulations to everyone that works in our robotic division.
Thank you. Next question comes from Elena Cuevas at Ali Markets. How does this project in Sweden affect the expansion of the production capacity of the mobile robots factory in Burgos, Spain, that ABB has?
Yeah. So these are complementary sites. So our hub for mobile robotics is in Burgos and will remain in Burgos. And in fact, now as we are finalizing the integration of the company into ABB, we're looking for further growth and success. So this will be really two separate units in that respect.
Thank you. Any further questions from the floor? Okay, moving on with online then. John Revel, Reuters, has a follow-up question. Will this lead to more jobs? Is there a figure? And how will robots be used to make robots here?
So over time, we expect to to grow the number of people as we also grow the output of the factory. But also, again, as we try to support our customers in transforming their industries, we want to do the same at home. So we would see an evolution of the type of jobs, augmenting more the people, concentrating in more added value tasks, and robots, either collaborative robots or industrial robots, taking on dull and repetitive tasks. Here you can think about exhausting tasks where you must lift the equipment, you must do repetitive things. This is how robots will build robots, basically on the assembly task, but also repetitive quality inspection, where we digitalize all the information and we have this supportive tool for people to then drive continuous improvement in the factory.
But John, maybe from my side, this is a growth story. And as we see with our customers, when they invest in automation, they actually introduce more work as opposed to less. The nature of jobs will change. That's why it's also important for us to help, the reskilling and the development of our continued, employees. And I think it's a great story as a growth and continued development of our employees.
Thank you. Nathan Fisher also has a follow-up question, which reads, if there were no subsidies, did ABB receive tax benefits for this investment?
No, not. I think it's ongoing, nothing different from what we are doing today. So we are operating, we are building robots here today. This is expansion and improvement of the facility, so it has nothing to do with tax assumptions.
Thank you. Any more questions from the floor? Martin, please go ahead.
How do you see the risk of robots constructing ever more intelligent robots and eventually taking over the world from this new plant?
Well, this question is on since decades. I've been in this business now for 30 years, and I did my PhD actually on artificial intelligence. And I personally don't see that the robots are taking over. I think they will become more independent and more autonomous. But we have many safety rules around the robot. When you interact with the robot, if it's moving very fast, then you have them in cages. But these robots that you see, for example, here on the floor are called collaborative robots. They will have more capabilities, yes, over time. As Mark has alluded, they will be picking, for example, items that they've never seen before. We will work on the interaction with the robot, that I can speak to the robot. We have already solutions where you can basically look at how a welder does a welding, and the robot sees it and then can follow that. These are all good things. If you think, hundreds of thousands of welding jobs are open alone in the US. So if we don't find solutions with that, we will not have people who will weld. So the robots will help and will augment us, and in my opinion, there will always be tools and support for us.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So this concludes our Q&A session and our press conference. Thank you all for attending today. You will find all the material available on our website and all our digital channels. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you.